I mean?
The
Keep it to
internet,
yourself.
fam. These men be sending a fucking dick pics.
Unsolicited
Who
every
asked
single
you?
day.
Can I
That's
ask you a question? Who
sexual
asked
harassment,
you?
by the way. You know that, right? Unsolicited.
Let me call my lawyer.
Really?
Yes.
Can I get money?
Can I ask a question though? They're ugly.
Yeah, I was gonna say that now.
Penises
I was like,
are
no
ugly.
offense, yeah, but they're not appealing to look
No,
at.
I don't think there's a single woman out there that has ever looked at a penis on its own without like knowing the owner or anything. Just a penis and said, yeah.
But I generally do feel like the man's anatomy is just not appealing in general compared to the woman's one.
It's not it's not stereotypical. Like I won't look like
No,
I can appreciate.
I don't fully agree with that. And the penis is unattractive. Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I
but
mean.
the-
Though, like when you
No,
look
I'm
at,
talking
if you
about
look at, like, our
genitalia.
private areas, yeah. When you look at a woman's one, it's like, oh my god, she's gorgeous. When you look at a man one, it's like, oh.
Your
We're
genitalia
gonna
is
have
outside.
to do it, obviously,
Yeah.
because we want pleasure. But realistically, it's not the
I'm
nicest
just,
thing.
you know what? It's not even from this. I'm pretty sure if you love that person or you like them, whatever. I'm pretty sure everything about them is beautiful to
All
you.
of me loves all of you.
But my thing is, why are you sending your willy? I just don't. In my head, it doesn't make sense because I don't
Unless
understand.
yeah.
No one would. I don't think there's women that would ever just randomly take a picture of like a close up of their vulva, like a close up,
Just the camera in
just
there.
the vulva, and then send it. Like what has?
Unless your partner's asked for it, innit?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That's if it's. I'm talking about unsolicited.
Yeah.
If your
I'm talking
partner
about out of
asks
the
for a
blue,
close up of your vulva,
and they're not a
Like,
gynecologist.
they're not going. That shit is weird.
That's
No, it's not weird.
That is
It's
weird.
funny.
Do you know do people ever say to you like, okay, the argument of giving out condoms, for example, you're
Yeah.
promoting sex? What do you say to that?
how does it promote sex?
It's already happening.
It's already happening. But I say
Exactly.
to them, how is this piece of plastic telling that kid to go have sex? Do you know what I mean? Like, how
That's all
is
the
it
plastic
pushing that
thing.
kid to have sex? No, because a lot of the time when you take a condom, you're gonna forget about it. There's more time. I've had stories from friends who, when they're younger, they've taken condoms from like, the child.
Fam,
Like,
the
I'm
other
gangsta,
day-
innit? I'm take condoms like they're like they think they're big. When they go home, they forget. They take the trousers, and their moms are like, "What's this?"
Literally the other day, before my brother went to uni, my mum found a condom. First of all, the bag I was carrying around had the condom in it. So my mum took me to the corner and said, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's not mine. The bag doesn't belong to me." And then she went and spoke to my brother. He was like, "Yeah, I got it from college. I just didn't know what to do with it." So yeah.
But you know what? Like, I feel like when you're giving out condoms, having sex in the first place, like your first time, you're gonna be stressed out and nervous. So you think me giving you a little rubber is gonna promote you to and give you the confidence to go move to somebody and have sex with them?
Yeah.
Like, you're already gonna be in your head.
Yeah, because I think people forget, sex isn't easy. So sometimes even kids are like, "Miss, how do I even bring up condom?" I'm like, you just brought up the fact that you want to have sex with someone. Isn't that more the scary part than the... And sometimes you have to break it down. You're like, you're having sex with someone, the most intimate thing you can ever possibly do with a human being, and you're telling me a piece of rubber that you can...
Some people argue killing someone isn't it, but sorry, carry on.
Yeah, like sometimes you have to... These are kids at the end of the day.
Wait, no, we're not skipping past that.
I
What
want
did
to
she
skip
say?
past that because I'm actually scared.
No, what did you say?
She said some people say killing someone is intimate.
Like strangling someone or fully taking their life is more intimate.
Than
Like some
sex.
people get
Okay, something
orgasms
that
from that. The
isn't-
full. Oh, sorry.
That's
Are they
it.
looking at you?
Listen,
They're looking
murder
for an
is
eye.
rude
illegal
anything
and immoral, innit? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But sex in the right circumstances
No,
with the right
man,
person.
she just ruined the whole show for
Now
me.
you-
No, wallahi, it's in the trailer.
What show?
Wallahi, that's the whole
Fall.
trailer. That's the whole trailer. I just remembered. Wallahi, billahi,
Okay,
that's the whole
calm,
trailer.
calm. I was about to start it today.
No, I thought you started it, but also it's in the trailer.
Okay.
Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So these are young people. And you can't fault the young people. These are young people. But imagine when you're talking to adults, they're like, I don't know how to bring up the conversation of a condom.
Like, who says it more? Like, is it the woman saying...
Both parties should discuss it. Because
Oh, no. Who has more questions about it? Like, who has more, like,
everyone.
hesitation?
everyone.
Oh,
I
okay.
think boys more because boys who have penises are the ones, obviously, they know that they will have to wear the condom.
Okay.
But for example, condoms are not just used for a human penis. It could be used for a sex toy, for example.
Okay, yeah.
So you have to tell them, look, if you're using a sex toy, put a condom on because you might share. You're gonna insert it into that person. That condom might not be might be used. Both parties are gonna use it. So obviously cross.
Contamination.
I don't want to say that.
I was like,
Yeah, I don't like using that word because then it's like
Me.
dirty, and I don't like
Yeah.
to attribute STIs with dirt because then sometimes there's the idea that if you're clean as a person, you can't get an STI.
Okay then.
So sometimes, but
Ooh.
for us guys, we
I
understand.
don't talk about
But
that.
just disclaimer innit? Just because
Sorry.
you're clean doesn't mean cleanliness does not
That can't
attribute
be a
to it.
disclaimer. That's the whole discussion, but we'll write that down.
But yeah, no, I mean like for anyone
Yeah.
listening,
Yeah.
like just because a person showers every day does not mean they don't have an STI.
Let's talk about syphilis.
Syphilis was discovered
She
in the
fucking took
80s.
me back, fam. I went on a train and I just heard
I was researching, not researching. I was listening to a podcast, and they did the research. But hence, I did the research. Anyways, syphilis was discovered back in the AD. Condoms were discovered a few hundred years ago.
People have been walking around
People
with
just dying.
Yeah, people.
All between that, people just dropping
Yeah.
dead.
The
They thought-
most famous king. Isn't there a king? One of the kings of Great Britannia.
They probably all
Britannia.
had syphilis.
One of them, the Mad King. What is he?
The Mad King was George the
Fifth?
George the Third.
Yeah, he apparently had
Dutch, your
syphilis
belly.
because syphilis, when it's untreated, causes the bacteria in the body goes to the brain and it causes madness. So
George the Third was
yeah, so there's
syphilis.
historians suggest that he had syphilis because he had the symptoms, and obviously there was no treatment. There's no antibiotics. 'cause
I knew
syphilis
that
is
from
treated.
Horrible Histories.
Yeah.
The King George's song.
Yeah.
The four of them.
Yeah. That's
So
horrible history. Sorry,
do you-
raise me.
Dead ass.
Oh, I
I'll
don't
be
like
singing that
show.
shit
I
on a
love it.
daily.
Thank you.
What's your favorite Horrible History song?
Horrible histories. Isn't it just that?
Really? Yeah, you know why?
Remember
Because you get into a vibe in it. Because you know how back in the day you don't have like that catch-up TV,
That's
so you had to
true.
listen to everything.
My
No
favorite one
skipping.
is the one with the Blackbeard.
Oh yeah, the pirates.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Badass bitch.
How do you break down
Mm-hmm.
the because I'm gonna forget the question. How do you break down the stereotype, or not even sorry, not the stereotype. How do you break down the stigma or the whole notion of like not wanting to get checked, not just assuming that you wouldn't
Yeah.
be carrying STDs
Yeah.
and like even things like when you find out you have it, telling partners
Yeah.
and stuff like that. How would your, for example,
If we had those solutions, that I wouldn't have a job. It's something that we
or
try
how do
and
you
tackle.
work around it?
We work around it by breaking down the stigma, by breaking down the myth, and
Okay.
by allowing people to understand that it's not embarrassing.
It's not ebb, yeah.
Yeah, because I get obviously like, you know, if you've, for example, there's people who have been reckless and they get it. So now this is your chance to not be reckless and take charge. So, and also education, there's a lack of education. Adults don't understand how certain STIs are passed on.
Yes.
Or, for example, vaginal douching, you know, when people insert water inside their
Yeah.
vagina, they
Oh
think it gets rid of it.
yeah.
No amount of cleaning is going to get rid of a virus. If that was the case, if
Or
you get a
soap,
flu,
fam.
for
COVID
example,
would have been gone.
yeah. Well, to be fair, if
No,
everyone,
but isn't like your
yeah.
vagina
For everyone
self-cleaning system anyway? So
yeah,
wouldn't
which
it have
people don't
cleaned
know
it
that.
anyways?
People don't know
Fam.
that.
I would have
People
cleaned it
don't know
anyway.
I thought until last year,
that.
until I spoke to you,
Yeah.
I thought that you can get an STI from sitting on a public toilet
No.
if someone else with an STI
Like
sat
the
on public
chances
toilet.
of that are so low.
I thought it was like guaranteed.
No, the chances of that are I can't say it's impossible,
No, yeah, but it's not as
but the chances of it, because it has to be inside a human body.
I feel like
That's why it's called a sexually transmitted infection, because it's something transmitted during sex.
What's the difference between STI and STD?
Sexually transmitted disease and
Yeah.
sexually transmitted infection. Americans use the word disease, we don't use it because that implies that it's not curable. Whereas some things
an
are-
infection. So
infection
like
can be cured.
chlamydia, for example, can be cured.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why we don't use it in the UK.
But I feel like
Okay.
people don't get checkups anyways. Like before we jump to like people with you know, chlamydia or whatever.
Yeah.
Naturally, people don't do checkups.
a lot of
Yeah.
health anxiety going around.
It really is.
Even
fam.
now, I think because of COVID and stuff, the accessibility is a lot more difficult because there's so much pressure. With the government cuts as well, we're dealing with a lot of government cuts. Clinics are being shut down left and right and centre. In the last 5 years, I can't even tell you how many clinics have been shut down. Like,
And also,
it's mad.
people are always like in pharmacies most of the time, and whenever we try to refer them to a sexual health clinic, it's like, no, the queues there are hours, like A&E.
Yeah.
Like you can't go there. So
And you need to be checked up for everything.
why can't,
Yeah.
if sex is like happening so frequently, like, and it should be, I don't know, it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, it is.
why aren't there, I don't,
because
That's
it's not a priority.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
there's more
priority,
prisons
not
than
priority.
there's more money going to prisons than there are going to,
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not making money off of us having sex other than us buying condoms and shit.
Yeah.
But me in prison for 8 years is making you bank.
Yeah. It is big
So-
business, especially under the Conservative Party. Big
Nah,
business,
fuck the
innit?
Conservatives.
Big business.
Wow, we
And
don't
like
wanna get
sexual
taxed, though.
health services, majority of them in the UK are fully funded by charities and, you know, the NHS. Because you're not going to make money. For example, you know, other illnesses or other, diseases, they spend time making medication because you can profit off that money.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to think that, in this day and age, illnesses are a money-making scheme. But when it comes to STIs, there's only so much you can make. So, for example, like contraception, big business. That's why they're not making it easier. They could invent so many different types of pills that make it easier for women. Fun fact that I learned last year from that Netflix show, there is a pill in India that you can take once a week that'll prevent you from getting pregnant, and it's non-hormonal.
How long will it last?
Wait, so
you
it's
take
not
it once a
the
week?
pill is not made up of a hormone?
No. And it's
Just
so
the crumb?
hidden under like government
Stigma.
regulation. Nobody has it apart from India. And even Indians themselves, we can't access. I've tried to Google it. Information is buried. You can't get any information on it. How does it work? I don't know.
How many you guys want? I'm going to India.
And but even in India,
bring you
A handful.
well, when
We
we
were
found
Russian.
out at work, when we
What
found
kind
out
of
at work, we came back and we're like, what is this? Like, there is a pill, non-hormonal, you take once a week, not every day, once a week, and you're good for that week. Imagine how many women's lives.
Does it ruin like your period?
I don't know that much information because it's so hidden under the legal paperwork or
But
whatever.
I'm pretty sure some people would opt for a period and
Irregular
the guarantee
period, then.
of-
Yeah, because if you, for
No
example, if your periods
pregnancy.
are fine, they don't affect you too much,
Yeah.
then why suffer with the hormonal pill?
Fam, even people who struggle with like period pains, extreme period pains, and stuff like that.
PCOS.
Like I didn't know it. I just thought having so much pain was normal.
Fam,
Why?
endometriosis. It's like when sometimes your period can flow backwards and go into like back into your
What's that?
endometriosis. That's what causes extreme pain for some women.
Endometriosis.
That's what happens sometimes. Like
I
instead
didn't
of
know that.
like there's a type of endometriosis where it doesn't just flow out.
Oh, I didn't know
The
that,
blood flows back and it
That's
goes into places where it's not meant to be, which causes
Damn.
extreme
Why are we
Learning.
not
I
taught
didn't
like
even know that.
I feel like, wallahi, I think it was once in my life where I had like a really off season. Like for 3-4 months, my period was just irregular as shit.
I thought I was pregnant
And
at
I was-
14.
I remember I missed a month and I called Nejma and I said, bro, am I pregnant? And even Nejma was like, no, your period didn't come this month. I don't know why.
I keep track of everything.
She knew my period and I was literally
No, I
like,
feel like we do
sheer
though. Naturally,
panic.
like I would know when because you're ill or like
It's
periods are
coming.
myth,
Yeah.
fam.
But I remember just one
Yeah.
time in school, I just asked the teacher, we were doing Islamic studies, I was like, hey, listen, my period's like not acting up. What's wrong with me? And she's like, your first time having a period and everything? I was like, yeah. And she goes, it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Really?
And I realized whenever it's women, I don't get embarrassed.
No,
with
but the fact
asking
that you
personal
still
questions.
asked that was still good because when I'm like I think it was 3 months, and I think I just moved to Egypt at the time, and maybe it was due to like climate change or whatever, stress or I don't know, depression, whatever it was. I didn't even go ask my mum, even though I'm not pregnant. I didn't go ask her because I just thought I just can't be. It's
It could have
awkward
been
conversation.
stress.
It could have been.
induced,
Yeah, no, exactly.
could
But the
be
fact that
all three.
I didn't even go to ask my mum because I thought, it'll just come next month or just come next month.
I always forced a relationship with my parents and my siblings that I'm gonna be very open with my period. Like I was very open with my dad. I was like, yeah, it's my period.
I am
you
right
had
now.
4 girls. What do you expect?
I am now.
No boys,
Like,
right?
no, he had 2 boys.
2 boys.
And my eldest brother, he had like daughters or whatever. So he's like the eldest. You know what I mean? So he has like all these younger sisters.
So there's another
So
generation.
it's just kind of
Well, like
like
the whole conception of in my household, I don't know if this is in every other household, but we weren't allowed. My mum wouldn't want us to leave pads in the toilet.
Yes.
Just put it away.
They
in your
belong
rooms.
in the toilet.
They belong in the toilet.
Where do you want me to put them? Run to my
Like,
room.
if Idris
to
sees
get
it,
pads.
what-
It's a pad. It is a
Yeah.
piece
No,
of...
what, in that case, we're not putting toilet roll in the toilet. We're not putting the toilet in the toilet. You're not going to the toilet. That's
You know what's
it.
crazy? I would love to talk about... The thing is, there's a lot of... Like, for me, I've just recently transitioned from using pads to a menstrual cup.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it. And I want to tell my sister.
Yeah.
I want to tell my mum. And my mum was going to call me a whore. So I'm not going to even approach that. But my sister's like, I want to give you this information because it's benefited me.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it's something you want to do
Yeah.
in the future, then at least you know this is an option. This is what you can take. Because you guys know, I'll be singing about it.
you love your moon
I
cup.
love my moon cup.
How long have you been using it?
This is my second period using it.
Wow. Are
Yeah.
you already loving it?
I love it. I loved it from the first time.
Fam, I
Congratulations.
remember
Oh,
buying it
you.
for her. Even myself, I was thinking.
I
a
bought it
tampon,
in Ramadan, like during lockdown.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to pluck up the courage to use it.
Yeah.
And also figure out how to use it
Yeah.
properly. And the first month, it was kind of like trial and error. It took me a long time to kind of figure it out. But this month, literally loving it. Like, and I was like, yo, it's because I did a lot of research before I decided to commit to this.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, first of all, I don't like the feeling of pads.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. It feels yucky. Like, I just feel yucky. And every time I go to the toilet, I'm just reminded that I'm just sitting in blood. Like, it's just, I don't like it. And it makes me feel like when I see
you're still sitting in it though with the moon cup.
Yeah, but you don't see it.
It's inside your
and
body.
you don't feel it.
Where
like
it's kind of supposed to be.
Yeah. And I feel like when I see period blood, I get more nauseous. Like, I feel sicker. And then with tampons, it's like, I've never used tampons, but I heard horror stories about like toxic shock syndrome.
It puts you off it.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
That's
I don't want to
people
do
who've
that.
left it in there for like 9 days.
Bro.
Take that shit out.
Yeah.
And then with
Why
the
you keep
menstrual
it in
cup.
there?
Forget that they
No,
have
but
it,
but sometimes the allergy to the product itself.
Yeah.
And
you
it
could-
causes
and you don't
skin
know.
irritation. Like pads sometimes cause skin irritations.
Like
They have like bleach oil in them sometimes. And I'm just
the
like,
colours and stuff that they use. It's like when a kid has allergic reaction to their nappy. Same thing.
Exactly.
Or
And
like
I'm just
latex
like,
gloves or whatever.
Yeah.
and I found out that in countries, I don't call them developing countries. I prefer to call them
Developed.
recovering
Yes.
countries. In recovering countries, they basically like companies like Always will give them like the reject type of pads, like prototype pads that have caused skin irritations, have like actual problems
Because
with
those
them.
are less than people.
Because here, people will complain and say, I'm not using this
It's a
product. What's
lawsuit
wrong?
here. It's
But
a
over
lawsuit.
there, it's either that or nothing. Like, you don't really have options.
Twitter, right? Did you learn it from Twitter?
I think it was Twitter.
Because even me, I had no
Like,
idea
there's-
about this.
I was just like,
couldn't
I can't
it. And
believe-
Always is a big company.
Maybe
Bro.
doing adverts, about educating women abroad and stuff like that,
Sick
and
of
going to
it.
these countries.
It's mad.
Fam, this conversation there's a lot to talk about, so we're definitely going to be having you back, inshallah. I was going to ask you one last question
Yeah.
that obviously Najma couldn't wait to hear the answer to.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask your question?
I have a lot. Which ones couldn't I wait for?
So how has your self-esteem
Oh, yeah.
been
your
affected, or is
question.
it?
Yeah.
Can you say it? Because I want to go back to that time you questioned asked me that question. She rattled me here.
I can't even
So a
remember
few
it.
bullet points.
But it was
So
something along the lines
about
of
empowered
how
self-esteem.
did learning and like learning about sexual health and being having all of this being so like all this information being so accessible to you improve, like not improved but increased your self-esteem and like empowered you, because now you know so much about yourself. And do you feel like now it's like you expect people to know, for example, if you ever do decide to get into a committed relationship with someone who you plan on being intimate with, you expect them to reach that standard and know that? Yeah.
So, just some backstory as to why I asked Najma to say it, because the first time I met you, you asked me this question and I didn't answer it because I kept reiterating the fact it's about other people rather than me. And Najma was like, no. I was like, what, Najma? What do you want from me? I want your answer for
She
you.
said Oprah Winfrey.
And I didn't answer it because I was like, I've never ever thought about it. Because when you work in charity or when you're helping people, even if you're a teacher or whatever, you're always thinking about that person or that group of people.
Yeah.
You never think about yourself, or you never get a chance to just sit down and think, how has this helped me? And then, so I sat down and I thought to myself, subconsciously, I know that I have a standard, not for other people. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, how does Ikram not know this? Or how does Zuhur or Najma? No, I don't think that. I don't expect people to know this information, because even me every day is a shock. But for example, like you said, for future relationships, for future personal aspects, I have a standard that I want that person to reach. Not because I think they're better than me, but because I understand that concept. I need you to understand that so we can be on a level. Even when talking to my parents or my siblings, for example, sometimes, like my younger sisters, I've grabbed a hold of them. You know what I mean? I grab them and they got information that their peers don't have, right? For them, it's been liberating, because they turn around and be like, stop being stupid, man, don't say that sort of thing.
I love that.
Nah, my sister told me. Or, I get gas, I'm like, I told them. I told them. I'm like, yes, I'm cool, like, because I ain't cool in their eyes. Maybe they am. Shout out to my sisters, yeah, you know who you are.
You know who you are.
I don't want to say their names just in case they're like, right, you baited me on your sex episode, you know what I mean? They're kids, isn't it? They're teens. But so having them to that level, I can't be knowledgeable about an aspect and you're coming to me lacking in knowledge. How are we gonna, that relationship isn't gonna work. It's the same with any sort of relationship. If you're at a certain level in terms of social skills or a level of education, a lot of the time it doesn't affect, but when it comes to like aspects that involve you and I or relationship, everyone, I need you to understand where my brain is at, because we're never gonna meet at a level. We're gonna conflict, because I'm gonna be talking about something and it's going out of your head, over your head. You're like, what's this? What's that? And I'm over here like, dude, come on. How can you not know this? Or you need to understand this. And even like, for example, when I go to events, a level of respect, a level of, even, for example, I don't want to go as far as to say abuse, but you know, like when a male counterpart treats you in a certain way, putting his hand on your shoulder, or, you know, even that behavior, I call it out straight away, because I'm like, no.
It's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
And for them, it's like a shock, but because they haven't been educated.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a far extreme, but for you to walk around life, for example, not knowing that this is inappropriate, I can't be with you because I can't be able to look past that. And me, for myself, for example, when I'm looking at my body or my own puberty, I look back at it and think, because of this knowledge, I can go into, for example, a future relationship and understand how to navigate it better. Because now when I look at certain relationships, I think, I wish that person knew before they went there, because then it would have stopped this certain event happening. For example, let's say, I'm going to be trying more generic. For example, relationships that are toxic and dangerous. If that person who got married at 18, right, had known about toxicity in people and controlling behavior, they wouldn't have carried on a relationship for that long. I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened, because there's some people who are educated and it can happen. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
We're not saying that toxicity is their fault. Never, ever you blame it on the victim. Yeah. That's point blank.
Yeah.
But what if she was given the opportunity to make that decision for herself, because she was given the tools? What if? And sometimes for me, I deep it more than, say, for example, my sisters or someone who isn't in, because I'm like,
you have the privilege of
because I'm like, you don't understand when knowledge is power, we know that. But like when you're looking at this person, you think, wow, you lived your life dealing with that person. It's taken you 20 years to get to a point where you've realized that person is toxic for me. What if they sort of, so me, I'm not saying I will never, God forbid, I go into a toxic relationship. I'm not saying just because I have the tools, I'm not going to end up in a toxic relationship, or I'm not going to end up. You don't know what's going to happen to you. When you're in something, you can't decide. But at least I know I have the knowledge to be able to use it. So I can say, I made this decision full knowing all. Because sometimes when you're ignorant and you learn later, it hits you hard.
If only if I knew this, maybe I would have done it
because then you start questioning yourself. Whereas, okay, I did know this and I messed up. Khalas, it's on me. I made that decision. I'm not saying I'll blame myself. And as human beings, we can't ever blame ourselves when someone else has done something. And as women as well, I think as a woman, I've kind of come to the terms that sometimes we do blame ourselves more than what, for example, our male counterparts do.
I don't. Fuck them.
But do you know what I mean? Men won't turn around and be like, I did that. No, they'll be like, it was her fault. But us women, sometimes we are taught, it was my fault. Was it my fault?
Was it something I did? Was it something I said?
And I worry. I'm like, even with this knowledge that I have, there's times where I'm caught out on things. And I'm like, whoa, I had this knowledge and I got caught out. So I can't ever think I'm higher than or better than someone. Heck, sometimes like you were talking about endometriosis, I didn't know all the information, and I'm never going to. But it's taught me to be more humble and go in, knowing that I have this information. I will use it in my relationships. I will use it with my family. Not saying that my family life is great. We've got it all worked out. We've got a schedule. We have these conversations. We all have our own unpacked information. But like there are times when I talk to my dad, for example, absolutely love it when he brings out words that I've been talking about, like misogynistic behavior. My dad's like, I know that one. And I'm getting gassed because I'm like, yes. Not to say he didn't know about it, but that word's in his vocabulary.
It just wasn't there.
It wasn't a thing. He's like, and like he'll bring articles to me and send it to me like, yo, I learned about this today. And I get gassed. I'm like, yes, like this is one step closer. And obviously that's my father at the end of the day,
wait, quick question. Do you think that educating the older generation, do you think there's really a point in that?
Yes. It's difficult. It's hard.
No, because you're putting it is really
it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And it's a burden.
Is there a point? Because
You made it seem like, what's the point?
No, what's the... Well, sometimes I think because of how much energy is going into it, it's a myth to me.
Yeah.
And right now, just focus on the rest. You lot are going to die. If the rest are neglected.
Are dying too.
But we're all dying, but as in like...
because the older generations still dictate our society.
Yeah.
Whether we like, sometimes I'm like, the new generation.
To some extent,
because the older generation is still educating our generation. So we need to imprint something so that, you know, if certain things do come up, because it is harder. We know that.
It's a myth.
It's hard.
Some people.
But do you feel like it's actually that we should be educating them on certain things? Because I feel like certain things are common sense, and I feel like it's kind of like
surely it's not common sense to them.
No, but it's kind of like the same thing with men. Do you feel like, as a woman, you have to constantly educate men on certain things? Certain things you should fucking know.
That's a whole topic.
Certain things you should research.
But the difference is, with men, I feel like it's selective ignorance. Like they're choosing not to educate themselves. Not really, because I feel like older generation, they're not ignorant. They just have a different way of looking at things.
Yeah, because certain things like racism, that's not a set way of living.
No, I'm talking about like in terms of sexual health and sexual education.
No, but I'm talking about
like misogyny.
Was your question in general, or was your question specific to like?
No. I'm just talking about just educating.
In education.
Yeah, I meant education in general.
Education in general, yes. It's because they're in our society. They're still there.
No, like if no matter how many times I sit my mom down and I say, for example, a woman is not the backbone and be all of a family, she won't believe me.
I see what you mean.
So there's no way of me, or like I can be out and my brother can be out and me being out is not. It's basically it won't. It will never get into her head. So what's the point?
Yeah, she's your mother though. It depends what person you're talking to. If you're talking to a stranger, leave them be.
Yeah. No, but
if
even
it's someone like
my mother, we're just having the same discussion every single
time. Yeah.
So that's what I meant by what's the point?
Topics that they're not gonna budge on.
It's a myth,
because for them it's so entrenched into who they are as a person, and I feel like they are they're afraid of, if they even think about breaking that kind of cycle. What are they like? What's next? What else?
Like the things that my mom I've changed her mind on is things that I forced her into. Like for example, she thought like nose piercings, like you're a whore if you get a nose piercing. No, my sister did it by herself at home, and it's kind of like she's somewhat.
I feel like it's also depending on like how soon like how quickly you intercept. Quite relevant. Because for example, topics like the LGBT community,
that's never gonna work.
I feel like for that I'm working on it with my mum, because it's an ongoing situation now, and it's something that is new to her and new to society, like in terms of implementing it in education and like being more aware and more understanding of everyone. I feel like it's easier for me to get in there because it's like
it's happening now.
And also I have a lot more information than you do, so I can give you some information that was like, when I found out about this information, for me was like very eye-opening, very helpful. So it's like, maybe you can, I mean, if you want to or you don't, at the end of the day that's up to you, but I'm gonna present you with the information.
Those conversations will only happen when it actually comes up. Like I feel like you coming out of left field and be like, hey listen, let's talk about gay rights to your parents, that's a myth, because already they're shut down. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like if the conversations come out naturally, I feel like some things are easier, but it really depends on who your parents are, because and I feel like it's, yes, it is a cultural thing, but it's also like a person thing, if that makes sense. Because people from different cultures will have the exact same mindset, and they've never seen each other.
For example, like you said, you might have the same conversation with your mum every day. I have the same conversation with my mum every day about certain topics, and I realized over time she does hear what I'm saying, and she does. Like today, we must have been talking about on the journey to work. She was talking about marrying outside of our culture, outside of our ethnicity, which for my mom is a big no-no. And she must have mentioned that someone we know is getting married to someone who is not Somali. And before, she would say that with disgust, with anger, like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. But now she was just, and before I even said anything, she goes, I'm not saying it as a bad thing, I'm just saying. And I was just like, and I was like, even though we have the same conversation.
What battles are you picking, basically? It's what battle you're going to pick. Because
100%.
you're going to exhaust
there's
yourself.
times where I'll be like, yeah, it's working the next day.
But the thing is, we know our parents are never going to be
who pressed the reset button
as us. That's a
and
myth.
our children are going to look at, I know that there's going to be times where our kids are going to be like, you're so close-minded about this. And it's just about being open to change. And I feel like it's because our parents' generation never questioned their parents ever what their parents said when. Like
to
my mom,
day,
sometimes she's
I'm
surprised.
23, I can make my own choices. That's an offense.
She's surprised when I tell her, you know what, Hoya, actually that's not the truth. Like about something that's like a fact. I'm like, actually that's not the case. She goes, you're out here defying. I'm like, I'm not.
But you know,
disagreeing
it's also
with
like
you.
what they count as a norm though. Like their actual like the way they live their life is a norm. For us, it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not strange, but it's like it's foreign basically. Yeah. So us trying to meet in the middle ground, it's true. It's like you gotta pick. You gotta pick your battles. Everything. I can't change everything about you, but I'm gonna change the necessary things that.
It's affecting me directly.
Exactly. And affecting others because you can't be having that kind of mindset.
And a lot of the time when I say to people like, if it's not your job, don't do it because you're gonna get exhausted.
100%. And if you're gonna get angry,
I'm gonna look older than I am.
Yeah, even with your own parents. Wallah, even with your own parents, I learned that the hard way. Even like for example, if I'm having a conversation about something, it could be the most minute thing. If someone is gonna be stubborn about it, khalas, leave them to be stubborn. As long as you're not hindering me and stopping me, then go ahead. Believe that the sky is green.
You don't have to be everyone's teacher, fam.
Yeah,
be your own teacher.
But that's something I'm learning as doing my job, that sometimes I have to learn when to just not bother. Because like sometimes, for example, people will be talking and straight just wrong information about everything, and I'll have friends be like, nudge me, like say something. Nah, man.
I thought you were saying nudge me. I was like,
no, nudge me. Sorry.
Me?
You're
like, tag me in. I'm ready, cuz.
But do you know what I mean? They're like nudging me, and I'm like, I already know from the way that they're speaking, they don't care. People they just want to talk sometimes. Sometimes I will fight a battle and I will be stubborn. Someone will be like, shut up. No. Today I have the energy for you. I will give you the energy. Because sometimes it's topics that affect me. And if you're saying certain things in a room, from earlier's conversation, in a room, and you're saying something and it's like at me, and I feel like, not to say that you're saying it directly to me, but for you to walk away with that mentality, I need to stop you. I can't have you going. Yes, I need to stop. Sometimes it can be quite a toxic trait because then you're everything. You start to chase everything. It's quite dangerous.
You know what it is, and I feel like, you know what, there's come a time where I think to myself, you know what, I feel sorry for you. That's your business.
I'm not being everyone's teacher, fam. I'm sorry if I go out my way to stop myself from being. Teachers, fam. No, but if I go out my way to stop my ignorance, you can do the same. I don't know why we're giving leeway to dumbasses.
Fam, we said we were gonna talk about periods this episode, and we spoke about that for like 2.2 seconds. So we need another episode where we start off periods. What about them?
Yeah.
And we end off,
so many things.
We spoke about a lot. We touched. You know what? This was an introduction. Intro.
Yes. Yeah. We should make a series of this.
That's what. Yeah. With intro to Hajar.
100%.
Yeah. So this was like an intro to Hajar. Thank you again for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your knowledge and your power.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I'm only so much.
You've blessed us with
whatever I can give. I get happy, innit?
Well,
give me a space to talk. Just give me a microphone.
Again, people.
$1
million. My friends are sick of hearing me. I keep telling you, I'm not even joking. My friends, they're so lovely. They don't tell me to shut up. But I know they're like, Shama, we've heard this.
I'm gonna write down what it is we need to talk about next time, because I wanted to ask you about problems and stuff you face from the Muslim community, being in your work field, like just a bunch of other things as well. So we'll definitely talk about periods.
We need to talk about periods though, for sure.
Inshallah. Thank you for coming.
We don't have to bring props, do we? Pad 1.
I don't have any.
Condom.
This is how you put it on.
Bring my moon cup.
we'll actually
we have to do a whole
no, but really actually I want you to. I've been telling you for so long.
I know.
We need to start.
So many moons.
If we get like loads of views on this year, it'll motivate me. So everyone who's
we'll do a workshop for you guys, teach you about the vulva.
If you're listening, you better show it to your friends. At least your sister, man. Come on.
Yeah. You guys
or your girlfriend or someone. I don't care.
You have
just
to
somebody.
Your mum. Educate yourselves.
Your manager.
And they're like,
your mum.
Anyways, I've been Ikram, Zuhur, Najma, Hajar.
Pushing that agenda.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Having us.
Having us.
Thanks for
listening. Oh.
I should be thanking you for having me.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
You.
Also,
Yeah, so
where can they find you? Do you want to put out your socials or?
You know what? Go to Muslamics, yeah. If they go into the Instagram,
we'll tag
plug
you.
you guys in and tag me in, so we know
I'll
that they're
tag
going.
you on the promo for this episode.
That plug.
You know what I mean?
You're a marketing genius.
Listen.
So
And she's a
follow
doctor.
the Muslamics podcast and each of our personal
You'll
ats.
find me on at the Muslamics.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll
I was
tag
gonna
her.
say at themuslamics.com, but you don't have.
We should have a website.
.co.uk. I'm just
Did you just say, oh, baby,
We'll make it .com international.
But yeah, if you want to find
yeah.
me,
Yeah.
but yeah.
You'll be on our page.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.